Tashkent hosts Fashion Week. The event brings together prominent representatives of the industry, designers, models, creative photographers, and media personalities. Among them is Martyn Roberts, who is making contribution in the global fashion industry. Martyn has collaborated with icons like Givenchy, Ralph Lauren, and many others. We had a chance to talk with Martyn Roberts to discuss his take on the industry's future and what Tashkent Fashion Week is offering this year.
So Martyn, you have been working for the fashion industry for over 30 years, and you've been going to catwalks and everything that is related to fashion. Have you ever heard anything about like Uzbek fashion or any Uzbek designers so far?
So it's really interesting. As you said, I've worked in the industry. I've seen hundreds, maybe thousands of catwalk shows over the years. And I must say, I haven't come across Uzbeki designers yet, which is why I'm here, just to discover, because I think there is the opportunity and there could be great talents here that the world just doesn't know about. And so I'm intrigued and I'm here to scout.
Who do you think has the most influence over the fashion in today's world, whether it is influencers on social media or celebrities?
So it's an interesting question because fashion and people around the world are influenced by many different ways. For the mass markets, often celebrities are the celebrity shows. While I was on the train to Samarkand, they were showing different reality TV shows, and sometimes these people and the contestants and what they're wearing and doing influence greatly the fashion. But in the end, it comes down to fashion designers, photographers, and the whole industry itself to lead the way. And by that, what I mean is that they will express themselves in different ways, and this is what will then impact on people later on.
So it's not like particular people, it can be everything.
That's everything. Everybody can have an influence. You can influence by wearing what you wear, and it can impact on your friends. Your friends could then go somewhere and somebody else sees it and it impacts on them. And so we can all be influencers in our own way.
What I have noticed is that we see like the fashion and the clothing color combinations from the past, they're coming again back and they're being trendy. Why this is happening and how long it should take for something to become trendy one more time?
So fashion follows trends, and music does, and architecture, food, etc. They all do. So they all follow trends. And what we're seeing at the moment, the appreciation of things from the past, is also as a reaction to fast fashion, of the cheaper, disposable, people buying things and wearing it a few times ago. And because of that, then people are valuing craft and they're wanting to look different to the fast fashion. So they're appreciating different techniques. And with that comes colors and patterns that maybe have come from the past, but are now being reinterpreted. So it's never an exact repeat of the past. So even traditional food in restaurants are often now with a twist. So it's a modern take on something traditional. How quickly this turns over, it depends. Sometimes trends come in really quickly and go everywhere, and they're spread around the world. Other times it's more localized. Sometimes that happens fast. But at the moment, you're seeing the 90s as being very important, and we'll move on to where the 2000s will become important as well.
But who decides what is going to be fashionable? For example, this season we see like in magazines that there is some certain trends, let's say like some certain colors, accessories. Who are those people who decides what is going to be fashionable, this or?
So there's no simple answer, but the media and influencers will have a big impact. And often they are the leaders of what becomes fashionable. But if you go back further, they're then wearing designers, so designers design that. And if you go back further, they're buying fabrics, which meant somebody had to make that fabric, and that color's been chosen. And actually colors for fabrics are often 5 years ahead. So they're now looking at colors that are going to happen in 5 years. Then the yarn manufacturers will start being influenced by that, which will then influence the designers, which then goes hand in hand with what's happening in interior design, what's happening, influences from famous television shows, and it all kind of works together. But there's not one person who says, this is going to be it. It's this whole kind of collective movement forward.
Where do you get your inspiration from?
So it's really interesting. So designers should be inspired by what's around them, because it's very easy just to go on your phone and flick through Instagram and go, oh, I like that, I like that, I like that. But actually, what's going to make a designer here in Uzbekistan different and interesting to the outside world and relevant is by taking what you see around you. I went through Chorsu market and I was taking photos of the colors of the spices, of the patterns on the walls, on what people are wearing, of all sorts of different things. And that's what will make a designer here different, because they will take that with them and show that to the world. You can't just go and copy and say, oh, I'm going to do something based on Japanese history, because that's what Japanese designers do. You've got to celebrate your own history, celebrate what's around you. It doesn't have to come from the ancient past. So we were just in Armenia, and there's designers there that are greatly influenced by the socialist modernism buildings, which I know here in Uzbekistan, there's quite a few of them. You know, these often, these days, sometimes a bit deserted, they're a little bit run down, the big concrete buildings. The shapes and silhouettes can really greatly impact a designer. And then their customers, their clients see it and go, I know what this is about, and they relate to it. At the same time, international people go, wow, this is something new.
You mentioned that you've been to Samarkand and in Chorsu. What about the fashion in our everyday life? Do you see, have you seen anything that you could have say, wow, this is unique, I have never seen this in other countries?
So I've seen a lot of clothing on the rails that have bright colors and very vibrant, strong patterns. And that is very different and unique. The embroidery and the craftsmanship, again, it's different to what you see in other places. I've been looking at all the pottery and the patterns that are on that. And, you know, some of them relate to, you know, what you see in Samarkand. Some of them relate to pomegranates and such. And again, these are all different things. Together makes it a unique experience. The people here have been incredibly friendly and incredibly lovely and accommodating. I don't speak any the local language, and they've been very nice to me and been helpful.
1 month ago, we had Creative Economy Week in Uzbekistan. And in your opinion, how does fashion influence the economy and, let's say, creative economy in the country, and especially in the developing countries like Uzbekistan?
It's a very good question. So the creative economy is essential for any country to grow forward. You can either be manufacturing, and if you're manufacturing, you can just be doing the cheapest, low-cost things, but then you're competing with every other country in the world. Once you start adding value and making things better, once you start adding values and making things more unique, then the economy can grow. And creative industries are key to that, whether it is architecture, whether it is interior design, whether it's music, whether it's fashion. But together, they all work together, and the digital media and photographers, the stylists, the people on Instagram and all of that, they work together and they create something that is valuable to a country and actually provides to the economy.
As a person who have been working in the fashion industry and with the huge fashion houses like Ralph Lauren and others, how easy it is, or is it difficult to approach them and start working with those houses?
So we've always worked with emerging designers and supporting and showcasing designers. And then we, as an organization, will talk to these big brands and see how they can also work with them and help them. So in London, I ran a major event for fashion graduates. And with that, we had all of these sponsors that you're talking about, LVMH, Ralph Lauren, Farfetch, big international players. What they were looking for was something different, something unique that the next generation of graduates could show them. So LVMH, has all of these amazing brands, and they had representatives there looking at people's portfolios, looking at their work to see what it is. They were giving advice, but at the same time, they were looking for something different. And they would employ students, graduates from that to go and work in their houses. because the creative industries needs new ideas. And this is often people come up with such great ideas when they're at university or when they're young, and then they can provide the opportunities to develop that.
What about in the countries like Uzbekistan? What is it have to be necessary some kind of event that will attract those kind of houses, or you have to know someone?
Visa Fashion Week Tashkent has done an amazing job. Bring over international guests. This is the first step, is for people around the world to see, to understand, advise, but also to then talk and spread the word. And this, I've worked with Ukrainian designers, Armenian designers, and I've seen this happen as the designers themselves are exposed to the international media. The media write reviews, they read the reviews, and they get to understand what the rest of the world sees and likes. And that's really important. So having access, enabling people to have access to a local market means that then that can be spread around the world.
I saw that you've been talking with some of our designers and artists. You have seen their work. How would you assess their way of presenting and the fashion here?
So I've got to say I've just arrived here, which I'm very excited about. So I've got 2 whole days of catwalk shows to see. Catwalk, for those who have not been, is a great way to show clothing because the models walk and they move and you get to see the clothing from all angles. And like real life, you don't just stand still like in a photo shoot, you move. And so the movement of fashion is important. And the shows are a great way to see a designer's vision. You hear the music, you see the makeup, the hair, and the whole atmosphere, and you get a little insight into what is their creative vision. Over the next few days, I'm going to see some wonderful shows, and I'm really excited to discover talents. But what I have seen, and again, this is why I went to Chorsu, this is why I went to Samarkand, this is why I walked the streets and been on the subway here in Tashkent, is to see what surrounds people and how that will influence. So what I've seen is been a lot of patterns, a lot of craft, quite bright colors. So as I mentioned before, I've just come from Armenia. The colors were much more muted there, much more monotones and such. I got a feeling I'm going to see brighter colors here, but I'm definitely going to see a lot of traditional techniques. And what's going to be interesting is to see how designers take these traditional things and make it modern for a new modern audience.
What would you recommend to someone who would like to discover their own style, like own fashion style, or let's say young designers who are watching us? What would you recommend to them?
So if you wanted to express your own fashion style, don't just look at Instagram and copy. Do something yourself. You may go onto Instagram and see something you like, but then look around you and work out how you can make it yourself, how it can be something that's different. Being identical to a celebrity isn't pushing anything forward. Taking some influences around and making it yourself, be a little brave, and I think that at times we're so influenced by people around us, we don't even realize we're influenced by what they do and how they dress, where they go, what restaurants they eat in, and you can be an influencer like that and be nice to people and support them. They will support you. You build your own community. For fashion designers or aspiring fashion designers, I always think that education is really important because you learn the techniques and you often learn the history and how garments are made and such. And then when you go out into the world, again, you need to build a community around. You can be part of that. You can be involved in that, or you can have your own community. And again, as people grow and be part of your world, then they will support you, they will wear your clothing, you will become more known, and then you never know, one day you might be the one influencing everyone over the world.
Thank you very much. It was an amazing interview.
Thank you very much.